And welcome to the 11th Annual Jewish Light Unsung Hero Awards, albeit the first one we've ever produced virtually. My name is Ellen Futterman, and I'm Editor-in-Chief of the Jewish Light. Tonight we plan to honor 5 individuals, 1 married couple, and 1 very large group of volunteers with the Jewish Light's Unsung Hero Award. For those of you unfamiliar, this event was begun to honor St. Louis Jewish people doing exemplary volunteer work in the Jewish and general communities, as well as non-Jewish people doing great volunteer work in the local Jewish community, all of whom tend to fly under the radar. To date, more than 110 individuals and groups have received this award and are part of an esteemed group of volunteers in our community. Before we get started and meet our amazing co-chairs for the evening and our equally amazing heroes, I'd like to introduce my partner, the Light's Chief Business and Engagement Officer, Betsy Schmidt.
Thank you, Ellen. I'm so thrilled to be here with you this evening to usher in our 2020 Unsung Heroes. They're an incredible group of Jewish St. Louisans. I'd also like to take a minute to thank tonight's sponsors: Clean Uniform, Alter Trading, Royal Banks, Wallace Companies, Mobile on the Run, Delmar Gardens, Mannin Financial Group of Wells Fargo Advisors, the Millstone Foundation, and Shirley Mosinger. We would not be able to put together an event such as this without them. We so appreciate your generosity. I also want to alert those of you watching that we are accepting tributes to each and all of our heroes during this program, after the event and in the days following this event as well. All of those who make tributes will be listed in the December 2nd Jewish Light paper. Information about how to make a tribute will be displayed intermittently during the event, but just to explain, you can do so on our website, stljewishlight.com, by clicking onto Unsung Heroes or the Donate button. You can also make a tribute for any of our previous heroes as well. As you may know, the Jewish Light is a not-for-profit, so all tributes, donations, or contributions you make are all tax deductible and support our mission to inform, inspire, educate, and connect the St. Louis Jewish community. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our co-chairs for the event: Sherry Sherman, Faith Berger, Galia Movitz, and Janie Weiss.
Thank you, Betsy and Ellen. How wonderful to be here with you all tonight. I have been with this event since its inception in 2010, and I look forward to it every year, as I know many of you do. The last decade, we have honored and sung many unsung heroes that have done beautiful things for our community. Just as unsung heroes, we are honoring this evening. There is so much division and fear in our world that we need hope, and our heroes give us that hope. This event gives us that hope. I always like to say the best way I know to describe this event is as a big group hug, because you can feel the warmth and love that come towards our heroes and that the heroes have for us. The love is palpable. We don't have that room, but we do have the love. And love is transient. It doesn't matter the distance. I feel the love, and I hope you do too. To officially kick off the evening, I want to welcome Rabbi Jeffrey Abraham of Congregation B'nai Emunah to give the invocation.
I'm Rabbi Jeffrey Abraham of Congregation B'nai Emunah, and I want to begin by saying Mazel Tov to all of our honorees tonight. The past 9 months have been incredibly challenging as we have faced the COVID-19 pandemic. Our lives as we once knew them have been disrupted and torn apart. However, despite the challenges that we have faced, there have been silver linings during this pandemic. All of us can hopefully point to a time in our lives when we have found something to be grateful for during these last few months. For our Jewish community, we are taking time tonight to honor a few remarkable individuals who have gone above and beyond in the last year to be there for not only our Jewish community, but the community at large. Every weekday morning, whether praying alone or in a minyan, we recite a special psalm, Psalm 100, known as Mizmor LaTodah. We stand for this short and seemingly simple prayer that reminds us of what we need to be thankful for every day in our lives. Even in times of strife, our tradition reminds us that there's always something to be thankful for. These extraordinary individuals that we are honoring tonight give us all something to be grateful for. The month of Cheshvan, which just ended, is at times referred to as Mar Cheshvan, or the bitter month of Cheshvan, by virtue of the absence of any holidays. It is precisely during this time period that we get ready for the secular holiday that most Jews feel most comfortable with, the holiday of Thanksgiving. How appropriate that we are honoring our unsung heroes as we begin the week leading up to Thanksgiving. It may sound trite, but giving thanks is not meant only for once a year. It is an everyday occurrence in Judaism. Knowing a few of these unsung heroes personally, I know that these individuals have done so much for all of us to be thankful for. But each one of them have stepped up to the plate, not so that they would receive this award, but rather because they believe in going above and beyond to help out others in our world. Our goal is for each of us to be satisfied with our lot, to continue to find those silver linings of what we should be grateful for, and to learn from these unsung heroes that we can and should do more to help out those around us each and every day. This will allow all of us to inch a little closer to Adonai, our God. Amen.
This year, as we know, has been extremely trying both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That's why this event takes on even more of an importance, because it is a way for us to connect with one another and give thanks to those volunteers who inspire us with their selflessness. Before we introduce you to this year's Unsung Heroes, and we learn about each of them, I'd like to introduce you to one of last year's heroes, the brothers Lazaroff, who will perform a song for us this evening.
1, 2, 3. Come on in to this house. Walk the path, the flowers lay out. Shed your coat, shed your hat. Settle in, get to where it's all at. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. One by one, young and old, coming in from the cold, with hesitations and afterthought. If you don't, let yourself get caught. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in to this house. Walk the path, the flowers lay out. Shed your coat, shed your hat. Settle in, get to where it's all at. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in this house.
Now it's time to meet our heroes. I have the pleasure of introducing you to the first two of our heroes before you meet them in a short video highlighting their volunteer work. Mark Dana doesn't just downplay his decision to donate a kidney because he's humble. He does so because he wants more people to realize that it doesn't involve any great sacrifice. He hopes they will then become live organ donors too. He doesn't see it as much different than donating blood, and he should know. Each week, he drives a supply of blood or plasma on behalf of the American Red Cross from St. Louis to Columbia. When not in the driver's seat of a car, you can probably find Dana atop a bicycle. He rides thousands of miles each year, many of them as part of fundraising events like the MS 150, Paddle the Cause, and Tour de Cure. And lastly, if he's not there, he's probably at Congregation B'nai Emunah, where he spent 24 years as the floor gabbai, meaning that during a religious service, he walked throughout the sanctuary and directed people when it was their time to be called for a particular prayer, reading, or other honor. B'nai Emunah congregants who are confined to their homes because of health issues or other reasons feel less lonely thanks to the efforts of Sheryl Kalman. The program she runs, known as Shomrei Emunim, Keepers of the Faith, is designed to maintain communications with the congregation members who cannot make it to services or don't get out at all. Coleman assigns her volunteer Shomrei Emunim squad to check in on those individuals on a regular basis, providing treats, resources, or just a kind voice to talk with.
So let me kind of describe Mark as a pomegranate. In our tradition, pomegranates are filled with seeds, and they say there are 613 seeds because that's the number of mitzvot, commandments that we have in the Torah, and he really is filled with mitzvot. I first encountered Mark as the floor gabbai, sort of the floor general of our congregation. He made sure that everybody got to the bima in time for their honors and made sure that everybody felt good. And he did it kind of with an iron fist, but covered with a velvet glove. So Mark is kind of that individual. He's strong, and yet on the other hand, he has a wonderful, gentle way about him. So I encountered him first there for many, many years, serving as the floor general, the floor gabbai in our congregation, making sure that everybody got the honors that they deserved. And Mark never took much credit for himself. He was always interested in making sure that other people received credit. Kavod, we called it in Hebrew, honor. And so he's really a wonderful person for that. When we started down the road of our congregation being more involved in the notion of being organ donors, Mark was the first person to step forward and say, I want to do that. I want to be involved in that mitzvah. And he did it again very quietly. For a number of years, he was ready to do that. And of course, in the end, he had the great opportunity and privilege, as he calls it, to be an organ donor. For me, there are other elements of who Mark is. He's a person who always cares deeply about services, worship in particular, and he's a millionaire. And he does that day after day, week after week, year after year, supporting the liturgical life of the congregation, and that's also quite a beautiful element of who he is. I also get to be one of Mark's donors. He's been raising money for cancer research and awareness for a long time. And every year he writes me a little note, and it's always so just the right, we say in Yiddish, betamt, the right taste to it. It's not overbearing, it's not demanding, it's just Mark, who is understated, but I think a giant of a human being and a giant of a spirit. Again, I just can't say enough nice things about this human being. He's one of the good guys. We always use the term mensch. Mensch is an elevated human being, and I would say that Mark Dana is by far one of the great Menschen, one of the great elevated human beings of this congregation and this community. And this is an honor that he's deserved for a very, very long time, and I'm delighted that we were able to nominate him and that he's been selected by the committee to join the ranks of these wonderful unsung heroes. And I guess now he's a sung hero, so I hope they'll sing his praises for many years to come.
One day from the Bema, Rabbi Rose made the request that the congregant was in need of a kidney. And at that point, then I contacted the people of Barnes Jewish, the kidney transplant organization, and indicated my interest in being a donor. So at that point, the person I was agreed to be a donor for, he had some other health issues that all of a sudden put everything on hold for him. Sadly, his health declined, and sadly in February he passed away. At that point, talking with my coordinator from Barnes Jewish, I indicated that I would be happy to be a altruistic donor, as they refer to us. And that started in February of 2020, and on May 14th, 2020, I donated my right kidney to a person who we met 2 weeks ago on the telephone. So much need. There's a great need in this country. And, money, the availability of a lot of resources coming from our governmental agencies and all has certainly shrunk over time. So there's not as much funding available to these agencies. So the need is great. And I have the time, and I'm willing to commit to that time. Many people give of their time very freely, and as I've said to people, I feel very privileged that I can do this, and I'm also very blessed that I'm able to do it.
My name is Lisa Alperin. I'm the Director of Innovative Learning and Engagement with Youth at Congregation B'nai Amunah. And what that means is that I get to be engaged with people at B'nai Amunah in all kinds of different ways. So one of the most important pieces for me is that on my first days here, I met the amazing Sheryl Kalman. And the thing about Sheryl Kalman is she walks in very quietly, as if you don't understand that this woman can change the world. And that's exactly what she does every day. Changing the world isn't always about changing the big world. Sometimes it's just about making a difference in one individual's life. And that's what Cheryl does. So one of the most important things about Cheryl is that she listens, and she hears people's stories. And in listening to their stories, she quickly picks up on what their needs are. And she makes sure that they understand that her helping them and supporting them in getting their needs met doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. It means that there's something right with what we can do. And Cheryl makes sure that the right things are always done. My daughter the other day asked me about what it means to be an unsung hero and why Sheryl Kalman. And that was a really easy answer for me to give. Cheryl doesn't want to be sung. Cheryl likes to be the person that nobody's talking about, because she realizes the person to talk about, the people to talk about, are the ones who need the help and support. Nobody else is going to make sure that Cheryl is seen, because Cheryl will be the last to do it. That's why she's an unsung hero.
I have been in St. Louis my entire life, And I I've actually been volunteering at B'nai Yamuna for years in a variety of roles, but the Shomei Amunim program started about 7 or 8 years ago as Rabbi Micah Buckyow's internship project. What we're doing is reaching out to people who otherwise might feel distant from the community, whether they're in a facility, whether they're just not able to get out much because of age. We reach out to people after a death, about 30 days later, when most people think that they've moved on. So we're trying to reach out to people who wouldn't otherwise be able to come to the congregation. I think it's important that we all remember that we want to be treated in the image of God. We're all in the image of God. And just because somebody can't come in the building for any reason doesn't mean that we should forget about them. I guess I don't look at it so much that I fix it as I think that everybody should be provided access to basic human rights. That includes getting visitors. I have to say that the pandemic is breaking my heart because I feel that there are people who are dying in facilities out of loneliness, which is as bad or worse, in some respects worse than dying from COVID. And I'm powerless to fix that. One gentleman, I'm working on trying to get him a device so that he can communicate with his brother and I can communicate with him, and so that he can have access to the outside world. To me, it means connection. To me, the whole program is about keeping people connected. And the fact that it was recognized as a whole that existed not that many years ago that we tried to bridge. When we first started calling people, they said, I don't need anything, I don't have any money to give, click. Now, if I decide to skip a holiday, I get calls saying, where's my goodie bag? Now it's when my father passed away, some of the people that I had been visiting showed up at the Shiva house. They called somebody else and said, can I have a ride? I feel like I have to pay a Shiva call. So now it's coming around. To me, it's all about connections and just recognizing that sometimes little things make a difference.
I now have the privilege of introducing our next heroes. A cancer diagnosis is devastating, especially for a child. Aleeza Granote is a calming presence for families coping with the news. As a pediatric oncology social worker at Cardinal Glennon Children's Medical Center, she goes way above and beyond the call of duty to ease the burden. That commitment earned her the hospital's Mission Award. She is also committed to helping families through her work as a PJ Library Parent Ambassador, a board member of Spread Ari's Light, and through Card Care Connection, a nonprofit organization she founded that provides supportive cards and hopeful messages to people with cancer. Alisa, you're an inspiration, and we commend you for the critical work you are doing in making a difference in the lives of the children and families touched by cancer. Alan and Ronnie Brockman are the founders of Camp Rainbow, which first began in the summer of 1988 for children with cancer and blood-related diseases. That first summer, Camp Rainbow hosted 28 seriously ill youngsters at a week-long outdoor camp. Now, Camp Rainbow provides 8 different camp programs and serves more than 800 children every year. In addition, Alan was the chairman of the Camp Rainbow Foundation and director of Camp Rainbow for 26 years, as well as a founding board member and president of Friends of Kids with Cancer. Ronnie served as the program director for Camp Rainbow Summer Camp, volunteer coordinator, and also supervised the other camp's program directors for 26 years. The Brockmans met through BBYO as teenagers. Both attended University City High and Mizzou, and they have been married for 51 years and are members of Congregation Sheryl. We thank you for your years of commitment to such an important cause and for the tremendous impact you have had on our community.
I met Aleeza in 2011 at Cardinal Glennon, and my daughter was, at the time, she was battling neuroblastoma, and she had been battling already for a year and a half, almost 2 years, when we then switched from St. Louis Children's Hospital, Cardinal Glennon, for a trial. And the first day we were there, Aleeza was there to welcome us, and she has this big, giant, bright smile, and she's so welcoming and so warm. We were super nervous about being at a new hospital and meeting new doctors. We just found out that my daughter at the time had relapsed, and so we were starting a new whole battle in a new hospital, and there was Aleeza with her giant smile, and she just connected with my daughter and with myself, and that connection has stayed with us for all these years. She didn't have to do half the things that she did, and for Ari and I, one of the things she always did was to bring a smile, and that relationship just kept growing. We spent so much time there. Ariana, she was at Cardinal Glennon when she passed away, and Aleeza was there with us, for us, and we, from the time that we walked in the door to the time that Ari passed away, we had that support. One thing that makes Aleeza so special to me, and I think that means that she's that special to everybody that she meets, is that she has this light and this joy about her. It's innate within her, and I think that's also why she and Ariana were so connected, because Ariana had that same joy and that same light in her. And so when I get to be with Aleeza and I see all the things that she's done and the incredible things that she's done, I know too that she carries a little piece of each of those children and my Ari inside her heart, and you just know it's there. And that there's nothing that could mean more.
I mean, I get inspired by my patients. I mean, you know, they're the heroes. I mean, they should be right here. I mean, they're the heroes. They're overcoming so much. I just want to help. I mean, I really want to help, meaning like helping with birthday cakes, or, you know, first hair or last haircuts. That, you know, moms that want to have a celebration that way, or, you know, people say like, just say no. And my thought is, they're sick. This might be their last birthday, and I just, if something I can do to help, I just really want to. I mean, some of the work that I do as a social worker is to really help with the other unmet needs, like their emotional support, or making sure they have food, they have lunch, like being a positive presence and bringing food. And, you know, we had families that were coming in for a routine appointment, and then all of a sudden they found out their child has cancer, so they had no toiletries. And, you know, just making sure that these needs are met, and with families, you know, helping them along the journey it's really been special to be able to be with them. While I was at Barnes Hospital, you know, I saw so many people that were so isolated. And so I started a program to send cards all across the country to people with cancer. And I, you know, sometimes get thank you cards back from them that, you know, that how meaningful it was to receive a card during their cancer journey. And to be, you know, I work with hundreds of volunteers all across the country to create cards, to write on the cards, and, you know, giving them an outlet, you know, creating an outlet for, a lot of them are previous cancer patients that are survivors that want to give back. And I don't know, it's just nice to be able to help people in such a, like a small way, but really meaningful. To me, I I really just like to help. I mean, I feel like what else are we here to do? I mean, to be honest, if we're not helping others in some way to make their life better.
Camp Rainbow provides free camps to children and families dealing with pediatric cancer or blood-related disease diagnosis. So Ronnie and Ellen, they are amazing. They started this camp in their basement with 10 volunteers and 28 counselors nearly 35 years ago. And since then, more than 8,500 campers have participated in a Camp Rainbow camp, which is just incredible. But they're still very actively involved. They are the first to jump in and offer help or guidance or assistance whenever needed. They'll do everything from cleaning a bathroom to cutting vegetables to playing with a child or running a group. So I think Ronnie and Ellen are unsung heroes because they have really lived their Camp Rainbow commitment to come as individuals but leave as a family. And over these almost 35 years, they've created an amazing family of people who come together to just create magic and excitement for families that are really struggling and dealing with some horrible life situations. I think that people could learn from Ronnie and Ellen how to be truly selfless and caring. They have just worked tirelessly for most of their adult lives to give back to Camp Rainbow, but also to lots of other groups and charities, schools, their grandchildren, their family, their friends. They're willing to do just about anything for anyone. They're the first to give you a call when you're having a bad day or send you a card or a note or a tribute and jump in and help out. And I just think that selfless, caring gift that they give the people that they know, the people in their lives, is something we could all hope to be doing at their age and throughout our lifetime.
Alan and I met when we were high school sweethearts. We met when going into his junior year, and we met through BBYO. And we had a BBYO advisor who was very involved in social justice and social action. So from a very young age, we started doing all kinds of projects and for this community. He read in the paper one day about an organization called the Dream Factory. And he looked it up and he went to one of their meetings and he found like a connection with them because they would grant wishes to seriously ill children. And this is back about 1985, 86. And through his connection with the Dream Factory, he would go and visit children in the hospital, right? And he would find out and talk to them, you know, about what their needs were and what, what they were doing and how they were doing. And so moved forward about a year, and he came home one day and he said, "How would you like to start a camp for children with cancer and blood-related disorders?" And I looked at him and said, "Well, okay, let's check it out." So we did our due diligence, and MOFTI and the Dream Factory and the American Cancer Society decided that we would partnership. So there was another couple that we worked with through the hospital, and we had the first camp in 1988. There was 28 campers, 28 counselors, 10 staff, so more 50 to 75. And we were suggested that we did it one-on-one because at that time the campers were really ill. What makes Camp Rainbow different from all other camps that our children would have gone to or anybody else would have gone to is that we provided medical care right on site for children, for the children. If they needed to go to the hospital, we took them to the hospital. Move forward, 33 years. We started that 1-week sleepover camp back in '88, and today we have 8 programs for children and their families who have cancer or blood-related disorders.
It's when I do something, it's something like, okay, I want to see how we're going to do this and why are we doing this and will it really help the kids and all this. Because anything I do, and you know that, is that it's for the kids. Anything, you know, if I can help a person, I'm there. It doesn't make any difference. When I go someplace, if I'm in a hospital and I know a kid and, you know, it sort of breaks my heart because I'm going in there because I know I'm going to come home sad and all this. But the difference is I try to keep it straight, and I want to let the person that we're doing this with be an actual part of it. And, you know, in other words, we wouldn't come with one mask. You know, we have to have masks for everybody that was there and things like that.
We really didn't think or realize how much we impacted people until we started getting letters from those kids that were campers 15, 20 years ago who wrote and said, I just want you to know that I am a pediatrician today because of what I learned and felt through Camp Rainbow. I'm a social worker. I'm a child life specialist. I'm a mother, you know, and I want to volunteer. And it just warms the cockles of our heart to see how camp has gone through generations for the last 33 years. And we couldn't have asked or had known any of the way camp was going to turn out, you know, but the volunteers who give their heart and soul to camp all these years and today even, and the staff, who we now have a staff, God love them, they're young and they're vibrant and, you know, they get it. And those that you don't see that are behind the scenes. We're blessed. We're blessed with our health. We're blessed with the people around us, our friends who have supported camp with us throughout the years. And it really, camp would not be, it's not really because of us. We had the inspiration, but it's because of the community and who we've surrounded ourselves with and the people now.
After 3 decades working in the restaurant business, serving customers, Steve Rosenblum now serves others less fortunate than him through a myriad of volunteer positions. He is a veteran, so it's fitting that Rosenblum is a board member of the Kaufman Fund, which provides services to military veterans. He's also a board member of Temple Israel, a past board member of the Miriam Foundation, and he volunteers with Caring for Kids and the NCJW Back to School store.
My name is Pam Budke, and I'm the Executive Director for CHAMP Assistance Dogs. And CHAMP is an organization that actually trains and places assistance dogs with people with disabilities. When I met Steve, he started talking to me about veterans and what the Kaufman Fund does to help them. And we agreed that we had similar interests in both organizations. We both want to help veterans. I was so impressed with the range and the different things that the Kaufman Fund does to help veterans. So we started talking about that, and Steve said that it was a possibility that the Kaufman Fund could actually help CHAMP with some financial assistance. And for the last 4.5 years, the Kaufman Fund has helped us financially, given us very generous donations, and that makes it possible for us to change lives through the placement of a service dog with a veteran. Steve has really helped CHAMP and the Kaufman Fund, and he has also made it very, very possible for me to meet a lot of other organizations and directors of other organizations that help veterans, which is half of the issue. I mean, if you can get a connection and teach people about what you do and work together and form partnerships, it makes you so much more successful. And Steve made that happen for CHAMP Assistance Dogs. In my mind, Steve deserves the Unsung Heroes Award simply because of the type of person he is. He's very, very passionate about helping others, primarily veterans, but I think people of all different backgrounds. And I was just so impressed by how he always knows what his goals are. He focuses on those and does what he needs to do to make things happen.
I'm not a lot different than most people. Once you do it, you want to do more of it because it's good. I mean, examples make a difference. I have many friends who are volunteers in different forms, different organizations, and I think you have to be thankful. I'd say, you know, the one thing that my dad said to me, my dad grew up in an era where they had a million sayings. And one of the things he used to say is when something good happens to you, send $10 to the rabbi. And basically that was saying, the way I interpret it is, it's like, be grateful, be appreciative when good things happen. You know, like everybody says it's better to give than to receive, but there's, you know, and it's a very commonly heard phrase, but it's true. And I feel, I guess, for myself, I've been very fortunate. You know, I've been fortunate with good health and you know, I guess good business, but successful business. And I feel strongly that you have to kind of pay your dues. You have to do your share to help others that are not as fortunate, who they need help. And if you can do that, why wouldn't you? You want to leave the world a better place for your family, obviously, but just for other people that don't have some of the advantages or the opportunities, you know, that you may have had. And the other thing, I think it's important to pay it forward as a person. I'm a big backer of paying it forward and doing your share and trying to basically be a good human being. I think it's important that people strive to do that. You meet a lot of wonderful people that are just really good human beings because it's not all about them. That's not who they are. And so you meet people that really are low ego, you know, low maintenance. They have a real giving spirit. So I feel really fortunate to have met a lot of terrific people along the way, and that have made an impact on me by seeing what they do has encouraged me to maybe be a little more proactive than I would be, because there's no limit to what you can do if you want to. You know, you have some boundaries, but for the most part, you can get to what you want to get to if it's important to you.
Closing out the program are our last two 2020 heroes who I am thrilled to tell you about. Two of the things Alan Spector seems to care most about are seniors and baseball. So naturally, he would love helping adults with dementia by playing on their connection to America's pastime. A retired engineer, Spector has spent the last 6 years leading the Cardinals Reminiscence League at the Adult Daycare Center at the J, a program that aims to promote good feelings and reduce anxiety among people with dementia. Spector leads discussions and asks participants questions about Cardinals history, baseball terminology, and stadiums, among other things. He also hosts a local Cardinals memorabilia collection so that participants can, for example, pass around a glove signed by Hall of Famer Stan Musial. Despite the fact that the participants often have memory issues, Spector constantly varies the program. Spector also leads workshops for retirees and has helped local synagogues and Jewish institutions on mergers and developing strategic plans. Now, last but not least, our last hero. 20 years ago, volunteers with the National Council of Jewish Women St. Louis began a program to help create enthusiasm about the coming school year, as well as to build positive self-esteem for underserved children in the St. Louis area. They felt that by outfitting these children with new school clothes, outerwear, personal care items, and school supplies, the children would be ready to focus on learning and better succeed when they started the academic school year. Guess what? It worked. And it has kept on working and getting better for the past 20 years. In the 2 decades since its inception, NCJW St. Louis Back to School store has served more than 20,000 St. Louis area children. Doing so has enlisted the efforts of 86 co-chairs and thousands of volunteers. Even this past summer, given restrictions because of the pandemic, the Back to School store continued with contactless distributions of school supplies and other essentials in the short term, and additional distributions of clothing later in the year. And the really big news, it was able to serve 2,000 children, which was 500 more than in the past.
So Alan introduced himself to me. I started at the J 4 years ago, and it was in March, and Alan reached out to me kind of out of the blue to introduce himself and see if I was planning on continuing the Cardinals Reminiscence program. I had to do a little bit of research, and he brought me up to speed, but it was a program that had started in 2013 with a partnership through the Alzheimer's Association. And Alan, being a baseball aficionado, had joined on and volunteered his time for the first couple of years. And I said, well, absolutely, I don't know much about baseball, but I'm happy to learn, and I would love to help facilitate this program with you. So Alan really he runs the program. He does the work behind it. I know that he's a hero to me and to all of our Cardinals Reminiscence League participants, members in the community, that he is so dedicated and so reliable and consistent. He's there. We know that he's going to be there. We know we can count on him. And that's not something that you get in volunteers. It's kind of, as a program, a director of a program, or that I organize different events and things, you can't always rely on a volunteer. It's kind of just a bonus when they show up. But I think that that's why he's kind of an unsung hero and a true hero to volunteerism, is because he speaks the truth, he shows up, he's dedicated, he fulfills his commitments, and he genuinely cares about what he's doing. It's not that he's there for the glory of, I'm in charge or I'm in front of people. It's not for fame or glory. It's because he genuinely cares to provide this service to people in the community. He's making a huge difference in the lives of the caregivers and in the lives of our participants.
I've got a passion for baseball. I've got some experience with leading group discussions. And even this year, when we changed from live programming to virtual programming, we were able to maintain interest and engagement and meet the intent of the program. I can tell when I'm having these conversations with 20, 30, or 40 people in the room or on Zoom that they are remembering, because they're telling me, we do it interactively, that they're remembering their relationship not only with the Cardinals and not only with baseball, and I think perhaps this is the thing that moves me the most, is their relationship with their dad or their mom who taught them how to keep score, or an uncle who took them to the ballpark. So I think without a specific incident, whenever we get into conversations about why the game of baseball and why the Cardinals are so important, when people remember the relationships they've had with their family, this intergenerational notion about baseball is what I think really makes the biggest difference. I know that it emanated from my parents, who gave back to their community all the time. So I was predisposed, if you will, to do that. But there's another factor as well. One of the areas that I've been studying now for almost 2 decades and have written 2 books about is retirement life planning. And in writing the first book with a friend of mine, a guy named Keith Lawrence, who lives in Cincinnati, one of the things we identified was what we call the 10 key elements of a fulfilling retirement. If you bring these things into your life, you increase the odds of having the retirement you've worked so hard to deserve. One of those key elements is called giving back. And when we were writing the book, we did research. We didn't do research, we reviewed research about the value of giving back. And certainly there's a lot of value to the community and to the person you're helping. But to be selfish for a moment, there's also research that shows the person who is giving back actually gets more out of the experience than the person they're giving to. And so I would have done it anyway, but now that I know that there's benefit to me and for my life, as well as to the people that I'm working with and helping, it's kind of a win-win situation. Not kind of, it is, it's a win-win situation. Kind of going back to this idea of retirement life planning, and really life planning in general, one of the things that we wrote into the book and that we talk about as we do workshops around the country for people who are thinking about retirement is a personal philosophy of mine, and that is listen for and look for opportunities to be helpful, and then be predisposed to say yes to those opportunities. And it's remarkable how much is out there to do if you just listen and look and then say yes.
Back to School Store has been around for 20 years, almost over 20 years, but 20th anniversary was last year. And we have really grown it over the years. So the way it works is we have about 20 plus partner agencies, and we partner with them to find families that are in need of the service that we provide.
The children are selected by they are need-based, and also they haven't been helped by any other agency in this same manner. In the first year, we chose children from the Clergy Coalition and the St. Louis Public Schools. And what happens is they come to our store, and it's set up like a department store. There's a coat section, a pants section, school supply section, a little shoe place they can try it on, everything they can try on to take home. And meanwhile, parents aren't allowed. This is a children and a one-to-one volunteer. And the parents go to a resource room where they learn about things like nutrition facts, there's dental screening, maybe the library is there. There's the Humane Society to give them pointers on safety with dogs around. So the parents have something to do too. And then they meet up with the children at the end. It takes about 45 minutes to go through the store.
I think the impact is enormous. So outside of volunteering for the National Council of Jewish Women St. Louis, I'm also a 3rd grade teacher at Iveland Elementary School in the Rittner School District. And I have seen firsthand students come to school without supplies, and they are defeated and embarrassed sometimes, and it's so nice to be able to give them supplies, which we have been able to do with different agencies and organizations at our school, along with the National Council of Jewish Women, who has put a closet in our school. But to have kids come to school already prepared because of a project like Back to School Store really sets the students off on the right foot for the school year.
So many children, it's out of the question to get new clothes or a uniform for school. And these children are at risk for not wanting to go to school because they're not going to be all spiffy like the other kids or have a new outfit and new shoes. So that's why we've done this, and to build their self-esteem, having a new outfit, it'll make them want to learn, to go to school with enthusiasm, and to be ready and prepared to focus on the new year. Some of them want to wear their new outfits home. They're happy to find a color or a graphic on a t-shirt that they like, or a pair of shoes that they've been wanting. So everything is brand new. So to have a new outfit is important to these children too.
The volunteers really love volunteering at Back to School Store. We have a wonderful cohort of volunteers. We have a great following with them. People enjoy that it's something they can do with their family as their children get older. Children can volunteer starting at about 16 in certain roles, and then of course 18 and up. So we have whole generations that volunteer together, and it's a really great day. People see their friends, they visit, they get to interact with the children, and everybody leaves feeling really good about something that they've done.
Well, I think part of volunteering for a project that this is a one day, you go there, you see the enthusiasm of these children, how they're getting excited about school, how their self-esteem is improved. I think that it really makes an impact on the volunteers as well. I get comments like people say, my child said, oh, I got a pink shirt, what I've always wanted, or these are the shoes I've wanted. And the volunteers are thrilled to see this community project in action, and they have played a part of it.
I really believe that NCJW has worked a lot harder at getting more PR and really putting their name out there, but a lot of the work that they do is unknown. A lot of people don't know about it. So I think the unsung speaks very truly to what they do. I also think that this year we had to pivot so fast, and the fact that we were still able to serve 2,000 kids is amazing. We didn't give up. NCJW was never, ever going to let a year go by without a back to school store, because we knew the need was so great, especially with the pandemic.
You know, 20 years was a long time for a signature project to go on, and it gets better every year, and we think of new things and we make it better every year. I can still remember 20 years ago, our list was so long about things we needed to improve on, but you know, we just got a list from Green Bay, Wisconsin of what they did, and we had to invent it. So I think it's lasted.
I think the volunteer experience at the National Council of Jewish Women St. Louis is unique because we really are trying to create change in the world, specifically for women, family, and children. And we're really doing it guided by Jewish values. And so I think a lot of people can connect to that. And even if you're not Jewish, you can also connect to that because you can help women, children, and families. So it's just open to such a broad range, and people just really feel good about the mission and the work that we do.
But I do want to thank the members of Congregation B'nai Emunah who recognized me for this honor. And it's always been a great privilege of mine to be a member of Congregation B'nai Emunah, as well as to serve the congregation in the many capacities that I have served the congregation. So very much thank you, and I am very, very blessed.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to accept this, and I want to thank everybody who helped me make the program so special.
This is an honor, and I'm touched.
On behalf of both of us, we'd like to say thank you very, very much. We are unsung for a reason, and we just hope that what we give to the community comes back tenfold for those kids and families that we serve, as well as through our congregation and all of the Federation and every place that we have touched. or we've been involved in and volunteered, we feel blessed, and thank you for recognizing us and all those that we served.
Thank you.
This is awesome. This is awesome. I would just like to say to all the people that have supported me along the way and support the things that I care about, and also those of my friends and others who have nominated me and written in support. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much, and I value our relationships. So, and I hope to continue to basically be worthy of this award. So I'm very appreciative, and it's very humbling, and I'm honored to have been chosen. Thank you.
Alan Spector, St. Louis Jewish Light 2020 Unsung Hero. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much to the Light and everybody who was involved with nominating and selecting, and mostly thank you to family and friends and classmates who put me in a position to be able to do this. And also thank you to the Adult Day at the J group of staff and participants who made this all possible through the Cardinal Reminiscence League. Let's keep doing that. That's great stuff. So thank you for this.
We are so honored at the National Council of Jewish Women of St. Louis to accept this award. This is for all of the volunteers who help every year, who have helped start this program and continue its wonderful success. This is for the staff, who this would not be possible without all of the wonderful people who work at NCJW and help us achieve our goals and really fulfill our mission of helping women, children, and families.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We would once again like to thank our co-chairs, Sherry Sherman, Faith Berger, Galia Movitz, and Janie Weiss, along with our sponsors, Clean Uniform, Alter Trading, Royal Banks, Wallace Company, Mobile on the Run, Delmar Gardens, Mannon Financial Group of Wells Fargo Advisors, the Millstone Foundation, and Shirley Mosinger, as well as our unsung heroes and their friends and family for joining us tonight. I also want to invite you to read about each of our heroes in this week's Jewish Light newspaper in our special Unsung Heroes section. And if you would like to make a tribute to one of this year's heroes or any of our past heroes, you can do so online at stljewishlight.com. Just press the donate button. Good night, and thank you for joining us. And once again, thanks to our musical guests, Brothers Lazaroff.
Dance while you can, let the scoundrels know you're there. Lie long amongst them, wash your clothes and cut your hair. Throw beneath the chandelier as it crashes to the floor. Pirouette on pointed toes, go right through the door. Lady, cooling herself with a fan. Hear her say underneath her breath, dance while you can. Well, now the southern fields are burning, those who had to toil. In days so hot you would just melt into the soil. Spent on bending knees, picking away the time, holding on to hope only by grace of the divine. But I'll douse the fields with ice, bring winter to the plan, tell every soul I come to know, dance while you can. life long. Dance while you can, dance for the weak and dance for the strong. Dance while you can, out to the rhythm of the song. Dance while you can and bring everyone along. Toast and the congregants all smile. Love so often born anew, if only for a while. And the reception hall contains the hopes of all who could attend, that they're witnessing the real thing, not some game or pretend. Bride's father says to the groom, I'll tell you man to man, the only advice I can give, dance while you can. Dance while you can, dance your whole life long.